It's time to talk about the anchor. Steel yourself. Or, more accurately, can you just get the note taker open and ready to go? It's on Canvas. Okay. So the anchor prompt this year is, what is Chinua Achebe's claim about the impact imperialism has on political or cultural identity in Things Fall Apart? Then corroborate Achebe's claim using historical evidence. This prompt is asking you to do two separate tasks. The first is analyze the historical fiction that is Things Fall Apart. What is Achebe's main argument about the impact of imperialism? And then the second task is then using historical evidence to support the narrative that Achebe presents in Things Fall Apart. And two different things that we're going to have to do in one single paper. But there's good news. Good news is that the paper is just a single paragraph. You're going to have chunk 1 on Things Fall Apart, chunk 2 on historical evidence, and then that's it. No intro, no conclusion, just 2 chunks and we're done. We're going to call it a day. So if you're looking at a question that says, I don't know, how long is the anchor this semester? The answer to that question is 1 paragraph. I really hope no one gets that wrong. Okay. So on top of only having to write a single paragraph, you also only have to pick one topic, which makes sense because having multiple topics in a paragraph is a bad idea. And we're going to give you a choice of topics. You can either focus on political impacts, things like changes in power or government or laws, or you can look at cultural impacts, changes in society or families or traditions or religions. And you're going to spend your whole paragraph focusing on one or the other. Here in this table, you can see kind of a breakdown of what the paragraph is going to look like. A topic sentence that addresses the political impact of imperialism. Then chunk 1, which is going to be your lit analysis, where you say, here's what Achebe says about the impact of imperialism. And then chunk 2, which is the historical evidence that supports what Achebe says happened because of imperialism. And then a concluding sentence. To get more specific about what this will look like, here is an example of the paragraph structure sentence by sentence. We have a topic sentence followed by chunk 1, which we'll see has context, an integrated quote, and 2 sentences of commentary. Then we have a transition into the historical evidence where we have more context, an integrated quote, and 2 sentences of commentary. And then we're going to cap the whole thing off with a concluding sentence. It's 11 sentences, and you're going to have a whole week to write it. And that's because while writing 11 sentences won't take you very long, doing each part as best as you possibly can is going to take some effort. And so we're going to make sure that you have, I'm going to help you however I can to make sure that you do as best as you possibly can on this paper, including asking you to think right now. Can you go ahead and pause this video as soon as I'm done explaining, or I guess you could pause it now and then unpause it to listen to what is going to happen next. Oh man, the rambling. I need you to think about what political and cultural impact means, because I've seen year after year humans struggle with this. It sounds vague and weird and hard, but think about what happens and Things Fall Apart, and then think about the ways in which the government or who's in power changes. And so I want you to right now answer these 6 questions on your note taker, first for political impacts and then for cultural impacts. I guess if you want to go in other order, you can as well, as long as you answer all 6. That's the goal. And I'll start with an example. So in the gray box, you can see an example of a political impact of imperialism in Things Fall Apart is when Obarika describes the harsh governing of the white man's government to Okonkwo when he comes back from exile. And this impact could broadly be described as a loss of political independence. Because in Omofia, they go from being in control of themselves to being under British rule throughout the novel. I did it. Now it's your turn. Pause this video, and then once you have those 6 questions answered, you're ready to move on. But I'm ready now, so I'm gonna... All right, here we go. The second to last thing I wanted to talk about was the calendar. So this week, all we're doing in history is creating a Spring Anchor folder so that your files have someplace to live. Going over the prompt, look at that, we already did it, and then analyzing all of the historical sources. For this semester, we've cut the historical sources down to 3 required ones plus 1 additional optional source. And we'll go over all 3 anchor sources in class this week when you're actually like in the classroom. Then next week, it's going to be a synchronous week for both English and history, which means that at your at-home day, you're going to need to be on Zoom because each day we're tackling a different thing so that we can have the whole paragraph done by Friday. On Monday of next week, during my office hours, I'm going to offer a review session for anyone who needs help going over the history documents or going over kind of the basics of the anchor because we're going to hit the ground running on Tuesday. And by the end of class on Tuesday, you're going to have both your Things Fall Apart quote and your history quote selected. Then by the end of class on Wednesday, you're going to have your topic sentence written and ready to go. And then by the end of class on Thursday, you're going to have a whole rough draft. You're going to write all 11 sentences. And then on Friday, you're going to make sure that those are the best 11 sentences that you can throw together. And then you're going to turn it in by 10 p.m. on Friday night to turnitin.com. It's pretty fast. Because of some humans last semester who decided to turn their fall anchor in January, we as an H9 team came up with a late policy that my cat is protesting. She wakes up yelling every single time. I don't know why she yells. Okay. The late policy for the anchor this semester is going to work in kind of a unique way to any of our other late policies, so I want to take a moment here to describe it. First, if you turn it in on time, that is before 10 p.m. on next Friday, that's going to be up to a maximum score of 100%, so a full 50 out of 50 points. You write a beautiful paper, we grade it, we look at it, we're like, man, this is so great, it's worth a 95. If you turn that paper in on time, it'll get the 95. If you turn that paper in the next day, the day after it was due, like on Saturday the 27th or Sunday the 28th, it's going to be a max score of 90%. So even though had you turned that paper in on time, we would have given it a 95. Now that you've turned it in late, it's going to receive the maximum score it can, which is a 90%. If you write a paper and it's like a 78%, and you turn it in a day late, it can get the score that it deserves because it's not exceeding the max score. But we're going to go with reducing the maximum score possible by 10% a week until we hit a minimum of 70% or a maximum of 70%, and then we're going to stop there. So if for some reason you don't turn your anchor in a week late or 2 weeks late or a month late, you can still turn your anchor in and get a passing grade. It's just that the best possible passing grade is a 70% at that point. So for those of you who want to turn in your anchor the last week of May, you can, and we'll still take it. It's just that the max score that it's going to be worth at that point is 70%. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So let's go ahead and head to Canvas to take the Anchor Intro Content check. The access code is Achebe. It's capitalized, so make sure that you get that right. It's 5 multiple choice questions. Ooh, 1 is a fill in the blank. There's 2 true false. There are no free written responses kind of questions, and it is open note, so as long as you've completed the note taker, you should be sitting in a pretty good spot. If you do not receive a passing score on this quiz, which means that you got less than a 3 out of 5, I'm going to need you to come to office hours on Monday so that we can go over what questions you missed and clarify any misconceptions you have. If you need any help or you get stuck at any point, feel free to message me. Good luck.